slow down. So, win for dad.
That's good. And you know what? There's going to be some boo-boos every now and then. That's the learning the bike experience.
Oh, yeah.
The scrapes, bruises, cuts, it's just part of it. I'm starting to get those pictures in my social media feeds, Roush. My 3-year-old isn't, I mean, I'm sure there are 3-year-olds that are riding bikes efficiently, I'm sure. But she's not really into it just yet, and she'll get there, I'm sure.
Whenever she wants to.
But my friends who have kids that are like 4, 5, 6, 7, a little bit older, and they're getting in the bike experience, it is hilarious how some parents will be different in how much they protect their kid. And I saw a picture on social media, and I'd probably do the same, honestly, but it was a kid wearing a helmet, had pads from hand all the way up, and then had knee pads like they were playing volleyball, and then shin guards all the way down. So there's not going to be any cuts. There's not going to be any scrapes on this kid. I wonder what I'll do when we get to that point. What do you do? Do you just do helmet?
Just helmet.
Oh, wow. So nothing even for elbows or knees or anything like that?
No. They ride their bikes so much. That would be such a pain in the ass. We do this every day. Like, we're bike riding.
What part's the pain in the ass?
Everything besides the helmet. But like, if you had to put on more pads with multiple kids, no. That you gotta learn from the pain a little bit, okay? You'll get boo-boos, they'll be fine. And that's the part, too, that always annoys me, is like, most of the time, when it comes to little kids getting hurt, it's the, oh my gosh, I saw blood, therefore I'm hurt. No, you're a little scared because you fell down, but just walk it off. You're fine, kid. You're fine. So I am of the, they gotta learn the hard way sort of deal. Although there is, I do have a limit to some of it, which is when it comes to going down hills. Sometimes it's like, all right, we cannot just go. Well, let's take our foot off the glider bike and just see how fast we can go down this hill, because they're going to end up hitting like something and going over their handlebars. So that's usually where I try to draw a line. Although there is one spot by our house that's kind of a steep hill where I'll go to the bottom of it and just it's the boys for 10 minutes just going up and down this thing, seeing how fast they can go. Good way to, wear them out a little, burn a little energy. It's fun.
Whatever gets them to sleep better at night.
Yeah, and that's what that's what it's for.
Actually, on the show sheet today, I did have like a little parenting segment, and since we're kind of just diving right into it, maybe we get into it, right now. My day's going fine. Really, nothing too newsworthy or noteworthy. Cleaned out the garage yesterday, which after it takes a couple hours to do, and when you're done with it, you're like,
Did I really?
Was that the best use of my 2 hours right there?
Yeah.
The garage looks clean, and it's organized, and it's really good, but then you're just like, okay.
How long is it going to stay that way?
You do the Clark Griswold, like you look at it for 2 seconds, you do a little pop, and then you're just like, okay, on to the next thing. How long it stays like that, not long at all. However, I get a lot of, debris is not the right word, but like leaves and little pieces of grass, and it really adds up. And I don't want any mice in my garage. I don't want any snakes. I get the occasional lizard from time to time. I want those out. So it was actually more of like a clean, like get the gross stuff that's not supposed to be in there out of there. Mm-hmm. And I probably organize the garage once a year, and it's nice just, didn't use this in the last year. And I remember last year saying, all right, you're on thin ice, whatever, old yard tool or whatever it may be. So it's always nice to throw away a ton of things as well. So got the garage cleaned last night. And then today, get to pick the daughter up early from school, the 3-year-old, and take her to a soccer practice, which is fun. I've never done that before. We did soccer like a year ago, but it was on Saturday mornings, and it was nice. And she had just turned 3, or if she was even 3, she may have been 2. So, like, she just wanted to grab the ball with her hands, which in soccer, unless you're the goalie, you're not allowed to do. So she's excited to get to soccer practice again today. She kept saying all day, I'm not going to touch the ball. I'm not going to touch the ball. So that's exciting. And then about like a month and a half ago, my buddy and I, we signed up for the YMCA Kid T-Ball, which I think is for 3- and 4-year-olds.
Is it just now starting?
And they just ghosted us. Like, they didn't say anything about it for weeks and months even. And like my buddy and I would text back and forth, have you gotten an update? No, and we joke about it. And finally he called and he was like, yeah, I guess supposedly they don't start till later, but we're going to be getting an email soon. And it was 4 hours after this guy called. So I'm slightly convinced that they just forgot about it entirely. And then that phone call was like, oh crap, yeah, we got to do the T-ball for the kids. But anyways, we get the email. I'm a coach.
Oh.
of the Baltimore Orioles T-ball league team in the YMCA league, and first thought Roush was just kicking and screaming. How can I be Will Ferrell for this 3-year-old T-ball team? So that's exciting. The bad news is that's also on Tuesdays, so Tuesdays are going to be pretty jam-packed for the little 3-year-old.
When does this start?
Next week.
That's way too late to be doing T-ball.
Way too late.
Our final game is next Monday.
Yeah, T-ball is absolutely a spring sport.
Yeah, you got to be over with by June because then it's going to get too hot.
Yeah, we're going to practices in 95-degree weather with a have a bunch of 3-year-olds that don't have really an interest in the sport to begin with.
So
that's exciting.
Here's I have 2 just basic tips like that are feels 2 things you want to accomplish over your T-ball season with your 3-year-olds. One, don't let the T-ball player swing the bat and hit anybody. That's the top priority.
I looked up the rules. It's a foam bat and it's a tennis ball. So I like that just off the top.
Yeah,
foam bat and a tennis ball. It seems like we don't need a metal bat and a real baseball for a bunch of 3-year-olds. But and I didn't know the rules of T-ball. I was never a great baseball player, and I think the early signs of that were in T-ball when at times would just run the wrong way. I'd go to third base out of the batter's box. There was a time that I was rounding third, just went straight in the dugout, no bother getting home. I'd forgotten the rules. So the rules are you play 3 innings, every kid gets to bat every inning, and they get a home run every at-bat. So you hit, and then you go first, second, third, home, and then you're done, and then the next kid gets to go.
Nice. Do we know how many kids are on the team?
I think there's 8 or something like that.
That could be long.
Or 9 maybe.
We have 2-inning games, and sometimes they get to an hour.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's not what we're looking for.
If the players aren't very disciplined. So
I'm sure that's going to be the case here.
Is this you throw it across the line towards home to...
You got to throw it to home is what they say.
Okay.
Which I think that's a good rule. And nobody's going to be out, even if you get there before I don't like that one. Let's start teaching people that they can be out. Like, they're not throwing it to first. They're throwing it to home.
Yeah, but if you're doing home run, we do
I say if you get tagged out, you get tagged out. Let's start keeping score. Let's let these kids kind of learn. All right, if you would have slid there, the Orioles get a win.
I think,
but instead, the Rays do.
That works with. Is this just 3-year-olds? What's the age?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Yeah, that's the next T-ball. Is 5 and 6. You can get people out. You throw to first.
I'll see about that.
The other suggestion I have is try to prevent all 8 kids from racing after the ball when it's hit, because that's where you get collisions.
That's a good idea.
We had a gnarly collision last night where the girl, she hit the ball down first baseline, and 5 kids just tackled her trying to get the ball. I mean, I thought we were going to have to get the medical tent out and do concussion protocol. It was a pretty gnarly little spill. So if only go to the ball if it's in your area. That's last year that took us about half the season to get that concept down, and a lot of teams at the Beach Mountain Little League, they still have not grasped that concept with a week left.
So knowing your areas is going to be a point of emphasis, is what you're saying.
Huge point of emphasis.
Okay, all right. I was trying to think of like how we're going to kind of do the practices, because it's probably just going to be nothing but straight shenanigans.
Yeah,
just like kids crying, rolling on the ground. But I'm thinking I'm going to need a lot of cones. I think cones are going to be good to, hey, go stand over there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some fun little like stuffed animals or something, just to keep it, hey, go stand next to the giraffe or something like that. They are 3-year-olds after all.
That's true.
Maybe I'll do something like that.
Maybe there's some sort of a game or something you could play to get them to look home. Like maybe the coach who's at home is like counting down, or sometimes they'll be like, all right, everybody put your hands up in the air. And then that way they're just at least somewhat engaged in anything while you're waiting for little Johnny to actually make contact with the ball.
Not a bad idea. Well, that'll get started next week, so I'll let you know how it goes. But I'm my first coaching assignment for a kid, 3-year-old T-ball, starting next week. So any advice on the text line, 502-414-1450.
You're basically a professional cat herder.
That's, I think, what I'm going to be leaning towards. Absolutely. What would you get into on your Monday night?
It was the T-ball. We had what I thought was our penultimate game. Turns out Dad didn't look at the schedule very well, so we have another game tonight, basically a doubleheader. And we have graduated to the point in the season where the Angels, we're a pretty good team, so the coaches now are doing a little soft toss for 2 or 3 pitches just to give the kids, like, all right, we know you know how to hit off the tee. Let's see if you can hit an actual moving target. And first at bat, Duke hit a foul ball over the fence, and it went right next to Frank. And, boy, did that make Frank's day. It's like, Duke hit me the ball. I mean, to the point where after the game, Duke responded in kind. Frank, I know you've told me 4 times already.
Oh, he's getting annoyed.
Which that was pretty good. But after the foul ball, he launched one, and it was a line drive that almost hit the fence on a fly. So that was great. The second at-bat, though, his glasses broke, so he got out of place in line to hand his sunglasses to Mom and Dad. I don't think the glasses were broken. The kid behind him took his spot and then launched an even farther ball that was higher, and I think we had some hurt feelings over that. I think there was a little bit of like, if I would have been there, it would have been a better pitch, because it's not my fault that I didn't hit it farther. We got to get a better pitcher in there so we could hit it farther.
We want a pitcher, not a glass of water.
Yes, or a belly etcher.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to have to play some backyard baseball to remember some of the taunts.
The pitcher, not a glass of water. Classic.
Backyard baseball, elite game.
That was the best of them, too. Because I know soccer was the initial one, but you just clicked your mouse around
Backyard soccer was the initial one?
That came out.
You sure?
That predated, because they didn't have any athletes on it. It was just the kids. And when they were like, oh, well, what if we paid some players to be on it and did a sport that people actually like, then we could really make some moolah. So I believe that baseball was the second one, and they did a football, and they also did a basketball, but the baseball, most elite by far.
Breaking news, once again, Roush wrong. Backyard baseball, the first game in the series. Backyard soccer, the second game in the series.
Oh, man.
Happy to break that news. 97 for baseball, 98 for soccer, 99 for football, 2001 for basketball. I don't know if I remember that at all.
I think Tracy McGrady was my favorite player on that one.
Kevin Garnett. Backyard hockey in 2002 and backyard skateboarding in 2004. Isn't that just skateboarding? Isn't skateboarding just mostly
in the backyard?
In the backyard.
I guess front yard, you're probably in the street or something. Yeah. But, yeah, I got an alleyway in my backyard.
The best part about backyard baseball was just the uniqueness of the different stadiums.
Oh, yeah, because it made the point that is pretty silly point. There's no standardization of baseball fields anywhere. But in what other sport is it just like, whatever you want it to be?
That's a good point. I guess golf, but not a team sport.
Correct. But
basketball, you're going to have the court be the same. Football, the field's going to be 100 yards end zone to end zone. Baseball, it's like, yeah, you want to go 253 in the corner? Okay, that's going to be fun. You want to put a hill in the outfield? Sure, why not?
Lots of people.
Back in the good old days, they'd have like a flag out there. Just watch out for the flagpole.
Love the flagpole at the center field of the Astros ballpark. Minute Maid Park, I believe it's named.
Can you name some of the teams in backyard baseball?
I feel like there was a Squashers.
There was not.
Yeah, Mashers maybe. I don't know. I'm struggling here. What was the girl commentator that had kind of a lisp? She had a funny name. A lot of funny names, but we all know Pablo Sanchez was the best of the best. He was the Jet Rodriguez. But just in backyard baseball.
There was Vinny the Gooch and Sunny Day.
Sunny Day. Sunny Day was in all of them.
They really went after her with one of the commentators. No, Sunny Day was color commentating. Vinny the Gooch was the play-by-play. He had a nasally, energetic voice. They say Sunny Day is the color commentator, offering additional insight, quips, and banter alongside Vinny. She has a cheerful, upbeat personality and often adds humorous remarks or playful jabs at Vinny, making their dynamic entertaining for kids with their rat-a-tat.
Rat-a-tat-tat.
We've got the blue melonheads.
Melonheads, yeah.
The red horns. Mm-hmm. This was the only one I remember. The green wombats.
Yeah.
Yes, the wombats. Good job. Yellow fielder's gloves. I don't really remember that one.
I mean,
the White Sox, purple fishes, orange tigers, pink flamingos, gray giants. All right, I don't remember all these. The goal humongous. Interesting. Very interesting. Didn't that game coming back out, though? Speaking of backyard baseball?
That's what I heard, which makes sense, especially if you just make it an iPad game.
Did you watch any of the real baseball last night?
I did.
College baseball.
We're in a little group chat with our pal Stephen Peak, who's gearing up for another Pique My Interest tomorrow. And when he was, his commentary forced me to be like, oh God, they really might blow this, because Murray State, they were up 10th. They're up 9-3. He said, and he liked to point out the similarities between Kentucky and Murray State. It's like, well, what if they blow a 6-run lead?
You know, they've never played each other in basketball.
But then I checked, they were up 7, and when he started sweating about, well, what if they actually did blow this lead? I had to turn it on, and I saw the final inning or two. And while doing that, was also keeping up with the other similar game, which was Arkansas Little Rock against LSU, LSU, another top 8 national seed that was sweating out a win-or-go-home regional championship. And Little Rock, I think, was up 4-1 when I was sort of locked in until LSU got their stuff together and rallied. But the Racers from Murray State, that crowd was pretty energetic, despite, some of the people that they were showing in there, it was just the sweatiest, doughy frat bros who had really, you could tell they'd been through the ringer over the weekend, sitting through those baseball games. I'm sure it was steamy in Oxford. And I thought they had their rally caps on, but that pitcher that came in, number 41, to close up shop, the fastball was humming. I just, clinging on to a 1-run lead, the catcher dropped 2 foul pitch strikeouts where, it was up 0-2, foul tip, drops the strike 3. Then it's 2-2, drops another strike 3. They get into the full count and you think, oh God, there's no way he's going to be able to get out of this. And they did. The pitcher got out of the jam, and the Racers ended up securing the 1-run lead in a roller coaster game to get to their first ever Super Regional.
It's Murray State Racers, Murray State Racers, Murray State Racers. Welcome to Racer Hoops, Murray State Racers, Murray State Racers, Murray State Racers.
I was rooting for the Racers. I'm very happy for Murray State. That's exciting. Now they get to go to Duke. I'll be a huge Murray State fan. They are ginormous underdogs in that Duke series. Mr. Vegas is not giving the Murray State Racers a chance to go down to Durham and get the win. But incredible to get to a Super Regional. Incredible to go down to Oxford, beat Ole Miss. I thought it was great that they trolled the SEC. That's what you got to do if you're Murray State and you get a big win like that. I thought all of it was awesome, and I hope that they can find a way to get to Omaha. I thought for sure they were going to lose, similar fashion to what you said when Ole Miss was coming back. But that was cool. College baseball is very cool. The games are too long. That's a major issue.
Right.
However, when you get exciting moments like that, it's special. I was watching. I was happy for Murray State. I also was checking out, I won't say that I was watching it, but I was checking out that LSU Little Rock game strictly from a spite standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Had West Virginia gotten to host a Super Regional against Little Rock, I would have been sick. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, beat Little Rock 2 times at your home stadium to go back to Omaha. It's like, that's it? Okay. Sounds good to me. LSU did win, though, so now West Virginia will have to go on the road to Baton Rouge. Going to be quite the experience for the Mountaineers going and seeing what LSU baseball is all about. West Virginia, they've seen it all. They haven't seen that, though. That's one thing they haven't seen, is getting down to Baton Rouge for a Super Regional weekend. I think LSU is in a good spot, but West Virginia is a gritty team, and they know how to come back in games, unfortunately. We know that the hard way.
I love the Murray State horseshoe with the Racer logo inside. There's a great-looking logo. Did not know that they got in on that early 2010s craze of school-themed hip-hop.
Oh, yeah.
YouTubes.
Oh, yeah. They sure do.
Racer.
It's not good. It's not good. And there's a music video to go with it. 2 white guys are rapping with the basketball team. It's just good, clean fun. I wonder what those guys are up to these days.
Probably still making rap videos with basketball players.
For Murray State, you think?
Probably lesser teams.
Can you name Murray State's head basketball coach right now?
No, because McMahon left for what's it called for LSU, and Prohm returned, but I think he just got fired. I think they just got a new coach, right? Is this his first year?
Yeah, I thought it was Steve Prohm.
Prohm.
We're all learning things on the fly. It's Ryan Miller, however, is the head coach of the Murray State Racers. 502-414-1450.
Not to be confused with the Mighty Ducks goaltender.
Speaking of super regionals and tickets and all that stuff, Louisville, I'm very jealous. They will get to host a super regional this week. They did get hosed on their start times. It's 3 o'clock on Friday, 11 a.m. on Saturday. Woof. But they did sell out their tickets, Roush. Weird, because I remember in 2017 they sold their tickets in the middle of the night. Weird. 3 o'clock in the morning, weird time to sell super regional tickets. They didn't go with the middle of the night strategy this go around. I think they opened them up to the public at like 11 a.m. or something like that. They did sell out in 15 or 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Crazy that happens when you don't sell them in the middle of the night, when you sell them at a normal time. Do you remember why they had to sell them in the middle of the night? That's a really embarrassing thing to do back in 2017. Do you remember the reason why?
Well, they didn't want Kentucky fans to take
tickets. Yeah, because they played Kentucky in that super regional. And they did win. Credit to U of L for that. But they didn't want that whole stadium to be blue. Is that what it was?
That was
so they had to do a little sneak and try to do it in the middle of the night where they sent out emails to their season ticket holders. Shh, you can buy them right now.
That was my introduction to just the funniest version of the sports talker. And this was I believe we were doing the Game of Thrones pod at the time, but you were still at Rivals, and you might have even still been at 4 o'clock in the afternoon doing your show.
I think so.
But, because it was very funny, because we sort of knew each other, and then you were making this huge stink, and then I think we sat next to each other on the media row, wherever they set the media for the games, and it was very funny because there was some icy cold looks your way after the fit you threw online. Just like really got your Jon Snow sword out and were just willing to go to war with anybody over at U of L over this.
Yeah, I just all right, everybody's going to have everybody has a take on something, or maybe you don't have an opinion on everything, but I seemingly do. And then and I'll have bad opinions, and I'll be wrong about things frequently. It's sometimes like to challenge myself to be wrong, because then you learn something new. However, I can really put my feet down, Roush, if I am getting scrutinized when I'm 100% right. And that's what happened there. They tried to spin it around as like, why is this guy making such a stink about tickets? Because you're selling them in the middle of the night. What are you doing? If Kentucky did this, it would get mocked, rightfully so, for forever. So I'm pointing that out. And there's the thing with the NCAA and college baseball in terms of you have to give the opposing team X amount of tickets and stuff like that. There was more to it than just selling the tickets in the middle of the night. But it was an embarrassing thing, and they wanted to come after me for making a big stink about it. So naturally, 8 years later, I haven't let it go. I'm not going to let it go. They were scared of Kentucky fans taking over their stadium because it's happened so many times that they had to sell the tickets in the middle of the night. And then, in the process, Donovan Mitchell came after me. So I had to give him a quick little 1-2 slap. He's like, look at this guy scared to play Louisville.
And this was right before he got drafted, I want to say.
And I said, hey, Donovan, UK baseball won more tournament games on Sunday than you did your entire U of L basketball career. Get out of here. That was a good time. It was a good time. But they didn't sell the tickets in the middle of the night. They will host Miami, and credit to them. That's awesome that they get to host a Super Regional. I wish Kentucky was hosting a Super Regional, and Miami is a team that they can definitely beat. Miami upset Southern Miss in the Game 7 to be able to continue its season.
Really hoping Southern Miss would win that one.
Yeah, Louisville would have had to go to Hattiesburg had Southern Miss won. They did not. They're eliminated. Now the Miami Hurricanes will travel to Louisville with a spot for Omaha on the line. Get to do the Jello shot challenge if you get to Omaha. That's always fun. See how many people can do the old Jello shots. All right, that is segment number 1. We have a really fun show planned for you today. We're going to talk more U of L, as a matter of fact, but in regards to Kentucky. So be ready for that. I think one of U of L's players has a tough time understanding English, so we're going to help him out. We want to read your text, 502-414-1450. You guys are getting them in, and gals are getting them in. We're appreciative of that. And then I'm really excited about this, but Evan Maikawa will join us in hour number 2, where we're just going to completely and totally nerd out with basketball. He's very high on the Cats. He's also high on the Cards. He's high on the Hoosiers as well. So we'll talk about all the teams in the area with Evan in hour number 2. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. We're back after this.
We seeing new big things, it's us, bro. It's Murray State Racers. It's Murray State Racers. It's Murray State Racers. Welcome to Race the Hoops. Murray State Racers. It's Murray State Racers. It's Murray State Racers. Welcome to Racers.
Matt Dennison here, inviting you to join me weekdays at 11 a.m. for the Hoosier Report. Complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, interviews with prominent figures in Kentuckiana sports, and discussion of other sports topics important to Southern Indiana. That's the Hoosier Report with Matt Dennison, weekdays at 11 a.m. on the home for the Hoosiers, 1450 WXVW.
At the IHSAA, we are invested in the growth and development of Indiana's youth, and so are our partners at Ivy Tech.
That's right. We're proud to help over 90,000 Hoosier High School students get a head start on college and their careers.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig.
And I'm Dr. Sue Elsperman, President of Ivy Tech Community College. Through our dual credit and dual enrollment programs, high school students can take Ivy Tech classes at their high school or at their local Ivy Tech campus, allowing them to learn skills and earn college credits while still in high school.
Thanks to partners like Ivy Tech, Indiana students are set up for success after high school, whether they want to continue their college education or go straight into the workforce.
Just like the IHSAA, we believe supporting Hoosier students is the key to building a strong future for Indiana.
This is the power of partnership.
This is the value of education.
This is your IHSAA.
Don't miss all the exciting action of Louisville Bats Baseball, AAA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds. See the Stars of tomorrow at Louisville Slugger Field, one of the best minor league ballparks in the country. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. Wednesdays feature half-price tickets for seniors 55 and older. Get bang for your buck on Thrifty Thursdays. Enjoy $3 beer and $6 margaritas on Fridays. Sunday is Kids Day with a free kids meal and Kids Run the Bases postgame. For tickets, visit batsbaseball.com.
Hey, I love salsaritas. Why? Flame grilled meats, house-made chips, fresh-made salsas for fast takeout, office catering, or your summer celebration. Try salsaritas. Visit them at St. Matthews or in Middletown, or order online for special offers.
We know to contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before every dig. Contact Indiana 811 and white line before every project. Learn more at 811.safedigindiana.com. Sponsored by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and aired by this station.
Hey there, business owners and church leaders. Want to reach more people in your community? Advertise your business or promote your ministry program on our stations? With our wide reach of radio stations, you'll connect with thousands of listeners every single day. Don't miss out on this opportunity. I'm Barbara Carter. Let's make your message heard. Give me a call at 502-345-9017. That's 502-345-9017.
Father's Day is right around the corner. The 2025 Big X Sports Radio Golf Card will be the best Father's Day gift ever. With the Big X Sports Radio Golf Card, Dad can play Park Mammoth, Old Capitol, Elk Run, Valley View, Wooded View, and Christmas Lake in Santa Claus, Indiana for less than $25 a round. We have less than 5 cards left. So get Dad his card today at BigXSportsRadio.com or call 812-725-1457. Here's what you missed on Kentucky Roll Call.
Hall of Fame head coach John Calipari joining Kentucky Roll Call.
I think we have a lot of NBA talent on this team, but they got to perform. And then you got to win. And you got to win at a high level so that everyone gets that last look.
Kentucky Roll Call, weekdays 7 to 9 on the Big X Sports Radio.
baby boy the prince.
Oh, man.
Meantime, okay,
I mean, somebody's just messing with us with the Calipari promo right before we get back on the air, right?
This is the way I live. Little boy,
I'm just more
I mean, we had a
focused
John
on this
Calipari-
outstanding song. What a jam.
Well, I'm on the ones and twos, so you know it's going to be an outstanding song.
the way I live.
This used to be my ringback. When you'd call me back in 2007, you'd hear this song, no big deal.
oh, that's the way I
feel like this is the way I live.
6 months later, now a big dog status.
Oh, man. What a jam.
It is. It's a great song. It came on when I was driving out today to Bullitt County. And I was like, I'm playing that on the radio show today. Have to.
There's one, this came out at a similar time. It's the feel good. Don't I look stupendous? You know what I'm talking about? It's
I'm going to need more than that. But sing it.
Bleep, I feel good. Chip the rip. Yeah.
We are streaming, by the way, if you want to see us when we're talking.
We're streaming?
I tweeted it out. Yeah, go ahead and retweet it, buddy.
Oh, okay. I guess I need to pull up the stream to be able to see your face.
I was in Bullitt County before 11 o'clock when Salsaritas and Shepherdsville opened. Unfortunately for me.
Tough. Yeah.
Now, fortunately for me, there is a location in Middletown right by my office.
St.
There's one in
Matthews.
St. Matthews,
Yeah, it's
which
right
is
around the corner.
too far away from here. They've got a covered patio. It'd be a great day to take the kids out to that covered patio for lunch or dinner. Middletown has a drive-thru at their location. Bullitt County's got a good outdoor setup as well. Check out all 3 of their locations. Download the app and get catering on Salsaritas. You can do it all at the touch of your fingertips. Maybe you just have 10 people coming over, a little high school reunion, get together, friends are in town, whatever it may be. Maybe you need to cater your entire 150-person company. It doesn't matter. No party's too big, no party's too small for Salsaritas. They will take care of you. Check out their catering options today by downloading that Salsaritas app. Start earning rewards, points, and free entrees at Salsaritas. 502-414-1450 is the text line. Do you want to do some text, or do you want to get into the Trey Mitchell frou-frou?
Well, we can do that before we get into some text.
Okay. So, Louisville big man, Sonato Frou, who's German, committed to U of L, and he is their front court piece next year. Like, he is their front court.
Yeah, they got some Greek guy over the weekend. But
They got a Greek guy over the weekend. They lost James Scott to Ole Miss.
And then they
don't know what's going on. Yeah,
they're back from injury.
Kason Pryor's coming back, but he was injured all of last season. And then Ali Khalifa is ineligible as it stands right now. Now, maybe on appeal, I was having to pull a tag off the back of my shirt. The Streamers, you got to see that. Good for you. Now I feel like I have to acknowledge the Stream every so often, Roush. This is a different radio show.
Yeah, I got to remember to not pick my nose.
And then they've got the Roos fella as well. But that's pretty much their front court. They need Kason Pryor to be USF good and healthy. And then they're going to need this Frou fella to be really, really good. And Frou did an interview at the Field of 68 talking about why he picked U of L. And then he just throws in, unprompted, yeah, I've got a teammate who told me Louisville's got the best fans. You'll get to hear it straight from Frou himself. But one thing I do want you, and it's going to be, because who needs to hear Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman, it is going to be in 1.25 speed. It's going to be sped up a little bit because we don't need to listen to 2 minutes of Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman. So we'll be sped up. But one thing, Roush, that I think, again, he's doing an interview. He's smiling. He talks highly of U of L. But listen to the beginning of this interview. My first reaction was like, this is kind of sad. This dude knows next to nothing about the city of Louisville. He knows next to nothing about the University of Louisville. And he just got, his agent was like, hey, this is the best thing for you, so this is what you're going to do. It's a weird dynamic of college athletics right now. And you don't even have to be an international or foreign student to have this setup happen to you, where you don't really get to pick. You just are told where you're going to go. It happens for recruits. It's happened for recruits long before the NIL era.
Yeah, I mean, Max Duffy, that's what happened with him.
Yeah.
Like, this is pretty commonplace.
Who was that?
But, I mean, it can work out for him.
Who was the guy that went to Kansas? No, it wasn't Kansas.
You think
no,
it's Billy Preston?
No, DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton.
I'll never forget. Offer.
I'll never forget interviewing him, being like, "Who's coming after?" And it was a throng of media
out of the Indy EYBL Memorial Day weekend.
Like, who's recruiting you? And he's, I don't know, nobody. I haven't heard from anybody. I think Kentucky called like 6 months ago, and we started laughing. We were like, "You're not hearing from anybody?" And he was like, "No."
He was the number one player in America.
He was like, "I don't know why either. I want people to talk to me." We were like, "Are they talking to a coach?" He was like, "I guess." It's like, what? What is going on here? And sure enough, he got tied up in all the pay-to-play situation. So that's what was going on there. And it just kind of sometimes make me sad when players aren't really choosing where they want to go. They're just kind of told. But Fruh seems very happy. And who's to say that UK didn't do the exact same thing with Yelovich? Like, you're not committing to Kentucky because you love Lexington and you love the Big Blue. They're paying you the most money, and it's a good spot. But anyways, that just caught my attention at the beginning of this interview. It's at the end of the interview that he mentions he was told Louisville has the best fans by a former Kentucky player. Say, what?
How did you end up on Louisville? Where did that recruitment process start? How did they find you? How did you get in first contact with them? And why was that the program that you decided to commit to? The 502 Circle, right?
Man, that's a great question. I can't even tell you how I got there. I would say my agent did all the work. I'm super thankful. He's doing a great work, making it easy for me. And I would just say Louisville sounds like a great fit to me. Like, they got a great coaching staff. I talked a lot to my guy Kloman and Pat Kelsey. They'd be reaching out to me, and I think they're playing great basketball. And just the way they're playing, I think really suits me. Super aggressive, like to run like big men who are more on the athletic side, run the court, can stretch the court, play aggressive defense. I just think it suits me a lot, and that's a big reason why I chose them. And on the other side, I think they have a great fan base. My teammate, he played at Kentucky last year, and he told me, Louisville, like, they got the best fans in the whole world, basically. And they already reached out, asked me some DMs. I'm super happy, super thankful. So I can't wait to get over and touch down in Louisville.
Hold on. So which teammate played at Kentucky that said they got that Louisville has the best fans in the world? That I got to know.
Okay. Best fans is a bit crazy, but he said he got a great fan base. They're gonna love me. He said I'm gonna fit there with good fans.
Trey Mitchell.
Yeah, he told me he got a great fan base and they don't love me and they don't fit the system. And he just said it's gonna be a great fit. I'm really gonna enjoy my time. He said we still opponents and he's still my, there's a little thing between us. The rivalry, you got some jokes and practices, but yeah, I'm super happy and I think it's gonna be a great fit.
All right, there you go. That was Sonato Fruh, U of L signee, talking about how Trey Mitchell told him Louisville has the best fans. Trey Mitchell has already responded to this, by the way, Roush. Did you see that?
He said cap, L's down.
He said cap, L's down. So are we thinking a language barrier here?
I'm thinking that he probably said, yeah, they got good fans. That's a big fan base. Like, it'll be fun to play there.
Yes.
He would probably talk to him like how a normal human would talk to him. I
just love the idea. Trey Mitchell played in front of Louisville fans once, as far as I know. Maybe there was some Texas, West Virginia crossover that I'm unfamiliar with. But he played at the Yum Center as a Kentucky Wildcat against the Louisville Cardinals.
And the big Dillingham just dunked all over his face.
It was the Big Blue rivalry, the Bluegrass, the winner, the MVP gets the little baseball bat. It's a lot of fun. It's a big game. He got to experience at one time at the Rivals gym in front of a 60% UK crowd.
Yeah.
And by halftime, that number was up to 75 or 80. So I doubt he would have that experience and then go to U of L, come in and be like, yeah, you all have the best fans. When I played at U of L's gym, it was more than half our fans. You all are the best. What? No, of course not. So clearly a little barrier there. However, if you're a U of L media, you're going to have some fun with that, understandably so.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to come back with it. And I love seeing all the pictures of that game in, what was it, 2023? Yeah, it was 2023-2024 season.
Correct, yeah, that December.
I think it was in December. They didn't play the game the first week of the season that year. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. But the Dillingham dunk with his tongue out, and he's doing the windmill, chef's kiss.
Our boy Big Blue Drew got a great picture of that dunk.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those that I think I tweeted out just every day for like a week. This is a lot of fun. It was good, clean fun. And sure, this can be good, clean rivalry fun. It is also funny how, Fruh is playing, this guy who's on his way to Louisville is playing with a guy who finished playing 5 years of college basketball. Right? Because
Louisville fans are taking that as a positive. hey, here's a Trey Mitchell guy who was a good college player, and Faru is having better games than he is. And he's coming into college. That guy's already out of college. Thus, Faru, better upside, better than Trey Mitchell,
well,
getting a really good player.
I would say that the bar is pretty low for being better than Trey Mitchell. And you need that guy to be much better than Trey Mitchell if he's your best interior player.
Yeah, he needs, and I for what it's worth, I think Sonata Faru is going to, if he stays healthy, I think he will have a nice season for U of L. I don't think he's the type of big man that you're going to see dominating a Final Four, but he's going to, he'll hold his own from what I've seen. I believe that I think he'll do a decent job. Cason Pryor needs to stay healthy, and if it's those two with the guards that you have, Louisville should have a pretty damn good 5.
Yeah. It's just the issue when one of those big guys gets in foul trouble.
Somebody gets hurt.
Right.
One of the guards get in foul trouble. I don't think it's going to be the deepest team. And you know what? You don't have to be the deepest team if you're 5 or 6 are really, really good. So we'll see. We'll talk with Evan Maikawa. Let's get it right before we get him on the show. Evan Maikawa. We'll talk to him about the Cards, the Cats, all that fun stuff.
Really smart for him to just be Evan Mayo on Twitter. It's good branding.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out of Indy. We'll chat with him in hour number 2. What is your all's favorite summer vacation of all time, says one texter.
That's a great question.
So it has to be summer.
Oh man, this is tricky. There was one that was a little bit more unusual, and it was one of our last sort of family vacations. Because I was in college at the time, and I'm pretty sure it's either 20 or 21. I don't remember if my sisters were still in high school or not. But we went to Colorado, spent a few days in Colorado Springs, and then we had a cousin who had this old, not really a bed and breakfast, but this old house in like a ghost town, essentially, an old mining town that was just a few thousand miles away, or a few thousand.
Whoa!
It was 1,000 feet up into, like 5,000 feet up into the air. But it was actually well more than that. The elevation was pretty damn high. It was very close to the Continental Divide. So, like, from there, you could go exploring. Like, we drove, we kind of went four-wheeling in an old Explorer up this mountain to go to a mountaintop lake. It was really cool. Like, that was just different. And at one point, we went to a hot spring. And going to a hot spring is very cool, where you kind of build up the rocks in a creek to make your own natural hot tub. So we were more of the beachy vacation type back in the day, but that's probably why that one might stick out a little bit more so than others.
That's a good one. Yeah,
good time.
I think probably I'll touch a sentimental chord on my favorite summer vacation, because I've probably done summer vacations that were cooler, or maybe like in the moment I was having more fun. But I would say, I think it was 2006. We did a kind of a mid-Atlantic Northeast trip with my grandmother, who passed in 2015. And we flew into D.C., did 2 days in D.C., which was awesome, especially for somebody that liked history at that age. I was like, hell yeah, let's just do the whole vacation in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Then we drove 3 hours to New York City, which I did not like New York, was not a big fan of it. I think we just stayed 1 or 2 nights there. We weren't in New York very long, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. But looking back, like driving into New York with my dad driving, my grandma in the front seat, and then my brother and I in the back seat, that's pretty funny. Like, just driving into New York is funny to me. It is such a ginormous city. It's traffic everywhere. Parking is a nightmare. A cop on foot pulled my dad over in car, which I thought was a little embarrassing at the time. My dad took a right on red. It was no right on red. This cop like blew his whistle and was like kind of running and waving him down. Had the thickest New York accent that you'd ever, just like he was a stereotype. He's like, yeah, I can tell he's not from around here, so I'm going to let you go. Don't do it again, though. And he, like, patted the car, like, 3 times, then we took off. And then we drove from New York up to Boston and went to my first Red Sox game. First Fenway experience. Went to 2 Red Sox games, as a matter of fact. And this was a funny story in Boston. My dad just classic my dad, made friends with the scalper that he was buying tickets from. He was like, let me go buy you a meal. Let me go. So, like, it was my grandma, me, my brother, my dad, and this 55-year-old Bostonian scalper, and we went to a pizza place right outside of Fenway, and we bought the guy dinner and beers. And we didn't get really good seats, but we paid for them, obviously.
Right.
I was like, Dad, you know, we could have just bought the tickets.
And not taking the
I think
scalper.
he was really
dinner.
nervous that, like, the tickets were fake.
So that would
if
be
he,
a
like,
good way to.
befriended the scalper, you know, he wasn't going to hose him over. And we ended up getting tickets from the guy the next night, too. They weren't as good as seats. We didn't take him to dinner either. But that was a good time. Oh, in New York, too. This was fun. We get to our hotel room. You know, it's like the Big Apple, the big city. The place we stayed in D.C. was really nice. We get to our hotel room in New York. We open the window, concrete building like 3 feet away.
Yeah.
Like, just the view is terrible, Roush. You had no view. The view was just a building.
Where dreams are made of.
And then my grandma in the middle of the night in New York started screaming and had a night terror and said that she saw a ghost in her room. So we were out of there pretty quick. Needless to say, I would say that was probably my favorite summer vacation. I've done some Florida trips with the family that have all been great, but summer, I don't know. When you block it off between May and August or September, I'd probably say it'd be that trip. A lot of good ones though, tough to pick.
Yeah, we did one of our mid-Atlantic trips because my dad's best friend lived in Northern Virginia, so we would go there quite a bit.
Would you do the drive?
Yeah. Go to like West Virginia Turnpike and all that.
Long drive, but pretty drive.
Yeah, it was like 8 hours, give or take. But one year we did Colonial Williamsburg, and that's one that I definitely didn't appreciate. Like, it was fine as a kid, but I would really enjoy it now. I know I would. But also, we got breaking news right now, Mr. Sports Talker.
Well, let me actually get the sound set up for real this time and not just a joke.
Kentucky football.
Oh, some good Kentucky football.
No longer has only one player in its 2026 recruiting class. The Cats got 2, baby. Woo!
All right.
Davis McCray, a wide receiver from Texas, announced he is committed to Kentucky a couple days after wrapping up an official visit to UK.
All right. This isn't going to be like, you know, we've seen some other programs do this where it's like, UK gets a commit. He picked the Cats over Temple, UConn, and that Division III school.
Oh, well, I got some bad news.
Oh, boy.
Kentucky was his only power conference offer.
Okay, see, now.
But, no, I take it back. There's a Miami offer in there.
Okay, which state is the Miami?
No, the Florida one.
Okay.
There's a couple Big 12 offers. We've got Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Now, how serious is their interest? I don't know. But
the 24/7 page says the warmest were Washington State, Columbia, and Rice.
Well, that's because they didn't have. We got to get Edwards in on their official visits that has happened over the weekend. That probably wasn't reported. We had the scoop on KSR++.
Oh my goodness!
But this was a guy. So they initially had a USC commit was scheduled to officially visit last weekend. He commits to USC. Is like, I think I'm good on my official visit to Kentucky. So they're like, all right, let's get a receiver in here instead. They move his official visit up. Admittedly, TJ, one would think that usually if you're going to commit after your official visit, it's going to happen within 48 hours of leaving or being there. So this is just outside the window. We thought Kentucky didn't get a commitment after the weekend. We thought wrong. They got a wide receiver in Davis McCray. 6'2", 190-pound athlete from San Antonio, Texas. And the part that's funny is it does happen on the heels of wide receiver coach Damian Washington tweeting out a meme that is very depressing, which was fell down and it's 7/marks, got up and it's 8/marks. So
wait, who did that?
That was the wide receivers coach. So essentially he was teasing, you thought we missed on all these guys? I got one more and we got them in the books.
Oh my goodness gracious.
If you want to see it, I retweeted it on my timeline. It's going to be a little sad, but hey, they need players. They got one.
We need, I mentioned Clark Griswold earlier in the show today, and now that we're streaming, I can kind of do like the little Clark Griswold like hop that he does, and then he turns around and goes. We need a moose out front of Kroger Field to tell everybody that the season's closed. And the moose out front should have told you. Roush, Kentucky football is a dead football program. There's no buzz. There's no juice. They got a commitment here. Our first thing was to just kind of poo-poo it. At least I did. I don't want to. I don't want to.
Right, but hey, at least they got commits. Because we were at the point now where you couldn't even poo-poo commits. There just weren't any. It was Will Smith showing up to the empty living room.
Yeah.
So at least they're getting some players. They got a player. Just keep the momentum rolling. I remarked on it yesterday on the website, but because Matt Ponatoski, the Moeller kid, actually did include Kentucky in his Final Four, which kind of surprised me. But Kentucky's a finalist for 2 of the top 6 uncommitted quarterbacks in the country. A lot's riding this season on Bush Hamden. Well, if he can get one of those guys, it will give the class a much-needed shot in the arm. You know how it is, TJ. You get a quarterback, and then all of a sudden more kids are like, oh, I want to play with that guy. So if Bush can do it, I'm not optimistic, but he at least has Kentucky fishing in the right waters. Now we're going to find out if he has any recruiting chops to close on either one of those guys.
I hope he does. I don't love where things are right now.
Right.
But that's no news to anybody else. And get a commitment, get some more, surprise some people with some wins, and you never know what can happen. I'm not optimistic in any of those things happening, but I've been wrong before. Another texter says, TJ is going to be smashing all the participation trophies at the end of the year. Exactly. Line them up so I can crush them with my foot. Unless we win the championship, of course.
I doubt they'll do a championship.
We'll be doing a championship, whether they know it or not.
I knew somebody who got, he was coaching, I don't know why they didn't have a toy bowl, or I don't know the circumstances specifically on which age group he was coaching, but they were very specific in, hey, we are not giving out championships for, I believe they do 3rd and 4th grade football and CSAA football now. They were like, hey, it's the last game of the year. We know you're undefeated, but we're not doing any sort of championship. Well, the coach went out and had this giant trophy made, like 6-foot-tall trophy. And the guy who runs the league brought the Archbishop out to go watch the game and was appalled whenever they ran up the score to finish an undefeated season and then brought out their own trophy that they made to celebrate it. And so they said, we're not letting you coach here ever again. You're done coaching CSAA football.
Wow. That's wild.
Which it
for 3rd and 4th graders.
Pretty sure they made the right decision, because if I'm not mistaken, that guy's in like jail now. So
okay, definitely the right decision.
Good choice.
Feels like there has to be a little bit more to the story than just that in its own right.
Right.
But I do love the idea that, hey, we're not doing trophies because we don't want to hurt the feelings of other teams. So great season, but there's not going to be a trophy after the game.
Right.
So this movie was just like, we will make a 6-foot story trophy, and all these little 9-year-olds on the other team have to watch us get handed it, even though it has nothing to do with them. Like, maybe just do that at the pizza party after, guy. Maybe that's when you do it. All right. We're done. Hour 2 coming up next on Big X Sports Radio.
Big X Sports Radio, WXVW Jeffersonville.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer, swimming or tennis, our Bulldogs are giving it their all on the field and court. So let's rally behind them, New Albany. Come out to the games, cheer them on, and let's make some noise. Let's show everyone what it means to be a part of the best city in southern Indiana. Go Bulldogs.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a diehard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
Being a senior makes playing high school sports even more special. I'm Claire Hack from Jennings County High School. Over the last 4 years, I think about all the memories made, how teammates became best friends, how coaches mentored me and helped me grow.
I'm Allie Ward from Boonville High School. Being a senior is bittersweet. It's fun being a leader for younger teammates. But it'll also be sad the last time I wear my jersey, take my last bus ride, huddle up at our last matchup.
I'm Grayson Neely from West L High School. I'll miss the adrenaline rush, fans cheering, the community support. Everything we've learned about the game and life are memories we'll never forget.
I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Thank you to our seniors for being champions of high school sports and representing your communities proudly these past 4 years. Fans, support your seniors by buying a ticket to their final game. This is our final send-off. This is one final memory. This is your IHSAA.
When design is key to your landscape project, give Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design a call at 812-288-6691. Walnut Ridge has more experience than any landscape company in the area. Remember, Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design. When design is key to your project and you want the most experienced landscaping company in the area. Give Walnut Ridge a call at 812-288-6691. Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design. When design is key.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 North Gate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
Hey, I love Salsaritas. Why? Flame grilled meats, house-made chips, fresh-made salsas for fast takeout, office catering, or your summer celebration. Try Salsaritas. Visit them at St. Matthews or in Middletown, or order online for special offers.
We know to contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before every dig. Contact Indiana 811 and White Line before every project. Learn more at 811.safedigindiana.com. Sponsored by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and aired by this station.
The plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC technicians of Local 502's commitment to excellence can be seen in our community every day. The KFC Yum Center, Ford Motor Company, and the Omni Hotel are just a few examples of their professional craftsmanship. Local 502 has been part of our community for over a century and invests over $1 million annually training skilled local workers. Members of Local 502 are your friends, neighbors, and children's coaches. For more information, go to lu502.com. Local 502, built on excellence, building a better tomorrow.
Over? You say over? I ain't heard no fat lady.
Welcome back for Hour 2 of Kentucky Roll Call
Nothing is over until we decide it is.
with Walker and Roush.
We're just getting started, bro.
We are just getting started, bro. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. We're going to have Evan Maikawa on in this hour to talk college basketball, the Cats, the Cards, the Hoosiers, all that fun stuff. Get your texts into the show, 502-414-1450. It's probably worth remembering, and we should have mentioned this, no more daily double. No more daily double for Kentucky Roll Call as of yesterday. And if you missed it, Kentucky got a football commitment. We just finished talking about Davis McCray from San Antonio's commitment to UK. And Houston, Columbia, Washington State look like the biggest competition for Davis McCray, the 6'2", 190-pound commitment.
Hey, we had Miami and Oklahoma State involved.
All right. Whatever we're going to tell ourselves. But it is a player, like Roush said. So that is a good thing. All right, we have. I'm all over the place, Roush. Anywhere you want to go, I guess, while we're on the football and we're getting this hour started. Chris Lewis retiring from football. I don't think that's a huge surprise, but we're still just wanting the best for that guy.
Like, you do this job and you say, oh, he's a good kid, but like Chris Lewis really is one of the like that. There are certain players that you cover and you. I don't know the best way to put this, but like Avery Williamson was a contemporary of mine, right? So like you're hanging out with one of your own. Other times you're with old guys like Luke Fortner, who is the old soul you can relate to. Chris Lewis was truly one of those where he was like a good kid who just had all of this hopefulness, this optimism, who kind of looked like a kid because he was gangly, but he wasn't really filled in yet. But covering him as a recruit, he was just a joy. He was awesome at Pleasant Grove High School. Just kicked all kinds of ass. One of the best receivers in the state of Alabama. Gets to Kentucky, and you can see there's like, all right, I know there's a good ball player in here, but he's getting pushed around a little too much. He sees the writing on the wall with Dane Key and Barry Brown starring as freshmen in his class, transfers to Troy, and without that physicality, I mean, he kicked all kinds of ass. That one season for John Summerall was outstanding, one of the best wide receivers in the Sun Belt. Comes back for his third year of college football. Summerall leaves. They find out he's got this problem in his knee, and it's a bone tumor. So, like, just when you think he's starting to turn a corner, he deals with cancer, is able to get rid of the cancer. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that was effective, but it did such a number on his knee that he's got to retire from football. And it sucks. It sucks so much because the joy that I saw from him, such a regular basis, the talent, like that felt like a guy who you could see popping up in the portal as being like, it didn't work out for him the first time in the Power Conference ranks, but he was great in the Sun Belt. And after, getting a little bit older, maturing, like this guy could be awesome once again at the Power Conference ranks. So it sucks that we aren't going to get the full redemption career arc for Chris Lewis. But glad that even though he's not able to continue to play football, he is seemingly healthy and can get his education paid for, live a good life. But nevertheless, it sucks. It's a bummer. Unrelated, like it's semi-related, but Frank Ragnow had a surprising retirement. The Detroit Lions center. I know you're not going to cry any crocodile tears as a divisional opponent, TJ, but he's been awesome ever since he got to Detroit. Was an all-pro center, like the huge part of their turnaround there. So like 7 years, like it felt like he just got to the league from Arkansas, but that feels like he could have played for 7 more and just continued being a badass. But ultimately, career cut short by injuries, and it just sucks. That's the price, the toll the game plays on the bodies of these players.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's I don't mind the Lions being worse, but kind of seems like an Eric Wolford situation there, just having to hang it up way too early due to injuries. So, yeah, I saw that. That's a bummer.
You mean Larry Warford? Is that what you were?
No, Eric, the U of L player from the Bills. Eric Wood.
There. Okay.
Eric Wood
I was just
from
saying,
the Bills.
There we go. Yeah, very similar situation.
Yeah,
actually.
At the peak of your career, or near the peak of your career, and then having to hang it up. Although I don't think that is necessarily the worst thing in the world. One, you're getting out in front of a potential injury that could be life-threatening or life-changing, so that's always good.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, I think when you know, like, oh, I'm having to get off this ride early. That's a bummer. Not happy about that. That's not fair. But I do think from like a money standpoint, I bet Eric Wood was like, all right, well now I need to be smart about my money. Like, it's cut off now. Let's figure out what we're doing. I think that could probably be a positive. I know there's people listening. It's like, no, wouldn't you rather just stay healthy and make a ton of money and not have to worry about that? Yeah, but then you may just take it for granted. And then, boom, you just kind of stink and you never really started saving up. You never had to start thinking about it. And all of a sudden your life's changed. Or at least now you can be like, all right, well, I know it's over from the football contract money, and now it's what's next for me. But what's next for the Lions is hopefully getting back to the bottom of the division. That's what we're all hoping for.
They got to replace 2 out of their 3 interior offensive linemen.
Definitely, just their schedule is incredibly tough this year. All their road games are losable. But not getting into NFL talk right now or doing Allen Electric power picks or anything like that, but I would feel good about taking the Lions under whatever that number may be. And this is coming from the guy who told you to take the Chiefs under last year, so be careful with that. But, yeah. All right, there we go. We'll get more NFL talk as the season goes on. We'll have to start doing fantasy here in a couple months. We have started the worst 3-month stretch of the year, though, June, July, and August.
That's true. Well, I thought they lost David Montgomery, but I guess I was wrong. I thought they lost another big player, the Lions, but must have been mistaken.
I think they did lose another big player, but I don't know if it was David Montgomery.
No, because it still says that he's a part of them. I'm going to have to get to the bottom of this.
Roush, have you been on Tinder lately?
Never, like 12 years ago. It was very, very brief, right before I met my wife. Don't think I certainly conversed with some folks on Tinder, but I don't think I ever actually had a date with anyone on Tinder. So did they change their format?
They did. I'm not. I think I was similar maybe for like a week in 2013. I had created a profile, but I don't ever really remember like getting a connection or messaging people. Not to say that that didn't happen, but I don't remember it. I definitely wasn't on it long. And I hardly even remember how it worked, Roush. I remember you had to like make 5 or 6 pictures and maybe like a little bio about yourself, and I think that was the extent
You
of
would
it.
usually have like a pickup line or something about you.
I don't remember the pickup line aspect of it, but that's where I had tapped out of the Tinder game for just a brief week-long stay, if even that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the dating apps. I know I have several friends that use them to find their wife or girlfriend, and if nothing else, then a hookup on the weekend.
It also seems easier now than it ever did before.
Yeah.
Whereas like,
and I'm not judging. So if you use them and you love them, great. I'm not saying they're bad or they're good. I think they're good. I don't know why they wouldn't be good. Tinder's made a change, Roush.
Okay.
And this change has people talking, and I want to see if you can get where the conversation goes. Tinder has introduced, and this was a few years, no, this wasn't a few years ago. This, I think, was around when I was on Tinder. But you had an age range.
Correct.
Where I think when I was, 21, I'd be like, all right, take it down to 19 and take it up to 23. I don't want to date people that are living life as a college student.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scoots, he brought his down to maybe 12. I don't know how far it'll let you go on Tinder. But they've had an age range for a long time. They did just implement a height range. Now women can say, you know what?
You can't do that.
I need my guy from 5'9" to 6'3". I don't want any shorter. I don't want any taller. They're allowing a height range. Nick Roush's reaction.
I can't believe they're doing this to short kings out there. I can't believe it. The disrespect. Poor Scoots.
What about our roos out there? You think somebody's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to make my height range 6 foot to 7'3". Poor Woo. I think he's happily married. But let's not leave out the tall fellas either. They could be left out in the cold unknowingly.
I think these short guys are going to be left out more so than the cold. This feels very much like a complaint. So, from my understanding, Hinge is probably the more popular app now, which...
Is that the one where like the woman has to reach out first or something like that?
Well, I think that the man can let the woman know that they're interested, but then the woman has to talk back to like actually or start the conversation essentially. Whereas Tinder, it's kind of a two-way street, and so this is probably their way of throwing women a bone, because I know there's a lot of women out there who probably got disappointed when they showed up to their date and they were taller than their date. It's very much a taboo thing, and you know what,
the disappointment of a blind date
where you're especially if you're a taller-ish girl, which 5'9", not super tall, but it's on the taller side.
That's tall for a girl.
I mean, my wife's 5 inches taller, so yeah. But you're right. 5'9" is
above average.
Yeah, slightly above average. So there's a chance, especially if you're wearing heels, you could be mingling with a shorter person out there. Like, think of all the people, if this app were still around and your brother were single, that would show up to dates and be like, "Oh God, this guy, tiny little Johnny Walker."
All right, Tinder looks like it's kind of it's often used to go to casual hookups. Bumble, empowering women to initiate the conversation.
Oh, so that's okay. That's the other way.
So Bumble the women get to initiate the conversation. Hinge, personality over looks, aiming for deeper compatibility.
Okay, personality over looks is just bull. Like who's buying that?
Hinge uses Nobel Prize winning algorithm for match suggestions. Yeah. There's Match.com, which is it focuses on long-term companionship. Not looking for just the hookups. So there's Match, Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder. I guess there's OkCupid as well. Those are the popular
What
dating
about
apps.
Farmers Only or Christian Mingle?
Oh, that's a good one, too. They didn't pop up on the list as the most popular for dating. But naturally, Roush, the conversation has steered, as many would imagine. Okay, well, can we have a weight feature? Nick Roush's response.
A weight feature?
Yeah, a weight range. I don't want to date somebody outside of this weight range. I'm looking for my woman to be between blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for my man to be between blah, 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 and I don't want anybody over blah, blah, blah.
If you're going to have a height one, then you should have a weight one, too. Especially on Women's Weight Wednesday, where
Women's Weight Wednesdays.
break taboo and we just guess a woman's weight.
Yeah, you'll have to tune in tomorrow for another edition of Women's Weight Wednesdays.
I do think it's wild that you get heights and weights for men's, like pretty much every level of men's athletics. Do not get that in the women's college ranks. Do they do that for like WNBA or anything?
You don't get women's heights or weights?
You only get height. You don't get weight. They won't list it.
Why?
Because you don't ask a woman's weight. It's taboo.
Are you being serious? They don't list women's weights on athletic sites?
I mean, that's how it was when I was in college. Maybe they've changed, but like, let me just quickly check out the women's basketball roster at Kentucky, and we have heights. That's it. Just heights.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
The people will be mean. Did you see where the WNBA is considering banning booing? Well, just don't keep score, too, while you're at it. You don't want to hurt somebody's feelings on the losing team.
The WNBA just doesn't know how to handle this.
They really don't.
They don't. Like, they don't understand that this is a good thing for their sport.
They've been, like, handed this golden goose, and they're just like, what can we do to make sure everybody else feels supported, too? It's like, how about you actually support her so everybody gets paid?
Or you
Wouldn't that be smart?
And the other part, too, is you don't have to entertain every think piece dialogue. Like, not every foul is like an indictment on race in our society. Like, it's just let people talk about it. It's good for your sport, and carry on. I don't
agree.
understand it.
I agree about the weight thing. My wife did not agree with the weight feature. She said she didn't really care one way or another, but just because they had a height doesn't mean you should have a weight. And her reasoning was because women will carry weight much differently. You could have two people that look the same, but their weights are different because they keep it in different spots.
Yeah,
I was like, but that's still all within the range, so people would be all right with that.
Yeah, no, where she...
And I was like,
her reasoning made sense until the last part.
And men carry weight differently, too.
Right. Like, you can be leg fat, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you could be back fat. Big back is apparently the new insult that you throw around at fat people. You call
Big
somebody,
back?
you call kids will call you a big back if you're fat, which is very much a like.
I don't get it.
I don't either, but that's what they call fat kids now, and that's a really big insult that you gotta like. If my wife hears a younger kid say that, then she like snaps at them like they just said the R word or something.
Whoa.
Yeah, like it's not that, definitely not to that degree, but it is one of the bigger insults. There was also another one that I think has gone out of style, bald-headed granny. That was one that she used to deal with.
So people would call people bald-headed grannies and they'd get upset about it?
Oh, yeah. It was like, I bite thy thumb at thee.
Would that be like for people that actually were balding or people that just looked old or acted old?
It was cotton-headed ninny muggins, you know, just any sort of like triple, basically, oh no, you don't call somebody a bald-headed granny. That's gone too far.
When I was growing up, people just called each other slurs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that anymore?
Well, I think they're back. I think slurs are back. There was there really was some op-ed that was like, the R word is back.
I have seen the R word. I have seen the R word a little bit more out and about. You may be onto something there, Roush. Yeah, okay.
The Tennessee fans love to throw that around.
Yeah, for sure. Anonymous Twitter accounts, any word is in style for them. When is the Big X Golf Scramble? We got to figure out if we're doing a Big X Golf Scramble first and foremost.
It's typically the Friday before college football season starts.
Yes, before Labor Day weekend, the long weekend, which is always a great time.
We would need an afternoon flight now.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually would still. I'd like to prefer morning, honestly. And I don't know what, like we start the show late, or one of us starts the show, or something like that. I'd rather get out there and not be sweating my you-know-what off.
Well, especially if Rutherford's coming on 30 minutes after us. Like, you can't really, yeah. So, I don't know. All this local
We'll
programming.
figure that out.
Right, yeah.
No, normally it's just me that does pretty much all of it, and I haven't started on it. So that's where we're at in the process. But I also need some, like, guidance in terms of, like, yes, it's okay to do it, and I haven't gotten that. So I haven't asked for it either. But we're just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on this year.
Yeah, hopefully we can.
I want to do it, though. It's a lot of fun. We always have about 20 teams out there. It's been a nice little tradition. Hopefully we do it again. John here. All right, KRC, have you seen the movie or trailer for the movie Friendship? If so, what do you think?
Man.
Also, what are your thoughts on Dollar General, Family Dollar, and the Dollar Tree? Which one is better in your opinion? We'll got to go talk to you later.
First things first, I want to see Friendship badly, but not bad enough to go to the theater. Like, it takes a lot to get me to a movie theater.
Corey Price would say the theater.
But I can't wait to see it. Like that, the reviews are, I think you should leave, but a movie. It's Tim Robinson. Yeah, everyone knows how much you and I love Tim Robinson humor. Which, by the way, did you see there was a real coffin flop?
No.
Yeah, like that.
Like a real one in the sense that somebody was filming a prank show and they had a coffin explode?
No,
or like a bottom of a coffin actually fell open unintentionally?
That happened.
Okay.
And somebody was like, it just keeps happening. I didn't do this on purpose. We just caught it on film. But I really want to see this, and I hope that people who go see this know, like understand what they're getting into. Because I think there's some people that will go to see it that don't get the joke or understand the humor before walking into it. And that might be a little jarring.
What if I told you that I've seen it?
And
I've seen it in theaters. How about that?
How great was it?
It was good. You don't need to see it in theaters.
Okay. That's
unless you're just like a movie goer, and it's like if you have kids and going to a movie is this big luxury where you hardly ever get to go, like myself and similar to Roush that I'm sure, then don't go. Don't waste a movie outing. You don't need to see it like with the loud music or with the big screen. Sometimes there's movies that are legitimately better when you see it in theater. There was one appeal about seeing it in theaters, Roush. I'll tell you that here in a moment. There was one thing that I liked about seeing it in theaters. But besides that, it is a good movie, and I enjoyed it. It is not one you have to see in theaters.
Okay, good. Because I feel like most of the ones I need to see in theaters are the big sort of action, superhero, whatever. Like the sort of huge production type deal.
The one thing that I did like about seeing it in theaters was, like, it's a good movie. It's a comedy, first and foremost. So you will laugh, and it's a funny movie. But it's also got like a interesting enough plot that it's not just like, it's not Billy Madison, that it's so silly and goofy that you can't even really keep up with the plot, but you're more in it just for the jokes. The plot's solid, and like you're kind of following along, and you have an idea of what's going to happen, and there's a couple of twists and turns. It's a solid movie. It's a solid comedy. Not the funniest thing I've ever seen. Not the best movie I've ever seen. I'll probably watch it again. I think it'll be like a good, just in the background type of movie moving forward. I liked it. I recommend it. If you like Tim Robinson, especially, I highly recommend. And Paul Rudd's great. Kate Mara is awesome as well. So
she's back. I haven't seen her in anything in a long time. Since she got shoved in front of that train in House of Cards.
The actors and actresses are great. It's just a good movie. I do recommend. Don't have to see it in theaters, though.
Okay.
The one thing I did like about seeing it in theaters, the one part that I would, like, if you're going to see it in theaters, you may enjoy, was Roush's, like, the theater was not packed. We went on just like an afternoon day. I would say that there was probably 10 to 15 people in there, including ourselves. It was just funny when Tim Robinson, at the beginning of the movie, would make a goofy face or just say a very normal line, but you just know the actor delivering it, and the entire theater would laugh over just something so, like, it was just like, oh, we're all in this together because we know Tim Robinson's humor.
Yeah.
And it's like a group of I Think You Should Leave fans all together. That was the fun part about it, is that, like, it wasn't even it'd just be Tim Robinson's goofy face, and you'd hear the theater just kind of giggle because you know what kind of comedy's coming out of that dude. So that part was fun. I like that. But the movie itself, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. You know, it was good. Recommend it. You don't have to break your back to get to the theaters to see it. But John, it was, I love Tim Robinson's brain and his creative thought process, so I enjoyed the movie, and it's got a pretty interesting ending, so recommend that. We recommend hanging around and saying bye when we have Evan Maikawa come on to talk UK basketball.
And the other part of your question, John, all of those suck. I wish they didn't exist, but Dollar General is the best of the three.
Yeah, I actually thought they were all under the same umbrella and just had different names.
They bought one, I think Dollar General bought Dollar Tree.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like they're garbage and they ruin small businesses in small towns.
Dollar General or the Family Dollar, I guess. I don't know. All right, Evan Maikawa coming up next, UK basketball talk. This isn't the song. The song that I thought. It's supposed to be Nappy Roots, all in all.
Oh, wow.
Just some groovy beat is what it is. All right, we'll be back all the same.
This world that we're living in may seem chaotic at times. It's good to have a team like ours that has never strayed away from its core values: God, family, and serving others. It's been this way since the beginning. I'm Lee Downer with AirServe.
Calling all young golfers. The PGA Junior League at Old Capitol Golf Club is the perfect way to learn the game, make new friends, and compete in a fun, team-based environment. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, our PGA Junior League is coached by PGA professionals, helping kids build confidence on and off the course. Join the team and experience golf like never before. Sign up today at Old Capitol Golf Club and let's tee it up. Visit oldcapitalgolf.com to register now.
Are you feeling self-conscious about hair loss? You can fix that issue today. Whether you're having thinning hair or total hair loss, Hair by Shannon will work with you to find the perfect solution. No surgery, no hassle. Just a fresh, natural look you'll love. Hair by Shannon specializes in hair replacement systems that restore your natural look and confidence, with free consultations to help you find the perfect solution. Whether you need a full replacement, emergency service, or just a quick touch-up, Hair by Shannon has you covered with multiple systems and flexible payment options. Plus, as a full-service salon and barber, she offers everything you need to look and feel your best. Take the first step toward the new you and feel more confident. Call 502-572-4487 now, or visit Hair by Shannon on Facebook to schedule your free consultation today. Get the hair you've always wanted at Hair by Shannon, where confidence begins. 502-572-4487.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 Northgate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
The plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC technicians of Local 502's commitment to excellence can be seen in our community every day. The KFC Yum Center, Ford Motor Company, and the Omni Hotel are just a few examples of their professional craftsmanship. Local 502 has been part of our community for over a century and invests over $1 million annually training skilled local workers. Members of Local 502 are your friends, neighbors, and children's coaches. For more information, go to lu502.com. Local 502, built on excellence, building a better tomorrow.
Some people call it spring. At Ken Mulch, we call it mulch season. But there's way more to us than mulch. We've been providing high-quality landscape materials for over 40 years for your home and business, helping to make your first impression great. For topsoils and mulches, hardscapes to landscapes, landscape boulders, pond supplies, brick chips, trees, shrubs, plants, and more, Ken Mulch is it. Find us at 2708 Outer Loop and online at kenmulch.com. After all, it is mulch season. kenmulch.com.
Every bank claims to have great customer service. But at Republic Bank, you don't have to take our word for it. According to a recent customer satisfaction study by the Qualtrics XM Institute, Republic Bank customers are nearly 3 times more likely to recommend us to friends and family compared to the industry average. That's right, nearly 3 times. So, what are you waiting for? Choose a bank you can brag about. Republic Bank. It's just easier here. Member FDIC.
This world that we're living in may seem chaotic at times. It's good to have a team like ours that has never strayed away from its core values: God, family, and serving others. It's been this way since the beginning. I'm Lee Downing with AirServe.
Welcome back in, Kentucky Roll Call. One final segment here on a Tuesday. A little nappy roots. We're going to be joined by Evan Miyakawa here shortly, but first I need to tell you about our friends at Shady Rays, where they have the best sunglasses in the biz, made here locally. A Kentucky company making sure you're looking sharp this summer. Polarized lenses at an affordable price, and if you break it, they'll buy it. Actually, you got to pay a small fee for your replacement fee, but the replacement pair promise is great. Just a small processing order. Go ahead and get a mystery pair while you're at it. And TJ, he will not stop ranting and raving about the LumiGuard shirts because they're light, they're thin, and they also make sure you aren't getting sunburn this summer. So protect your skin, protect your eyeballs with Shady Rays. You can visit them online at shadyrays.com or check them out in person. They got 3 brick-and-mortar stores in the area, one at the Summit Fritz Farm in Lexington. They also have one at the Outlet Bluegrass outlet shops of the Outlet Bluegrass and at Oxmoor Center. It's Shady Rays, the sharpest shades in the business. I think we're good to go, Mr. Sports Talker. Are we good to go? Oh.
Somebody took my sheet on how to do the phone calls over here, so I'm not 100% sure if we're good to go or not good to go.
Is Evan Miyakawa there?
Evan, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right. Evan, how you doing? First time on Kentucky Roll Call. Thank you for taking the time. I've been a big fan of your work, and I think sometime during last season you followed me, and I was like, all right, we got to get this dude on the radio show. So, big fan of yours. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely glad to be here, and man, a lot of hoop stuff to talk about, even though we're fully deep into the off season already.
Yes, we are, but now it's like we know what next season looks like more so than we have at any point, and that's somewhat exciting. Everybody's roster is not totally done, although pretty close. There's certainly been a string of teams adding European or international prospects to the fold, just last-ditch efforts potentially. You've been high on the local teams in our area, Louisville, Kentucky, Indiana, but especially with the Cats. What do you like about what Mark Pope has done this offseason?
I think that the work that Kentucky has done in the portal this offseason has been almost better than anyone else in the country. So on my website, one of the things that I do is I rate every single transfer in the entire country based on statistically how valuable they're going to be next season using all of these advanced stats that I have. And when you look at the amalgamation of both the quality of the players that Kentucky has brought in, but also the number of guys they've brought in too, their transfer portal class, according to my analytics, ranks second best in the entire country behind only Michigan. And I think it's pretty tight between them. And when you look at specifically, the top players that Kentucky has brought in, when you look at especially Jaden Quayton coming from Arizona State, Mo Diabate coming from Alabama, and Jalan Lowe coming from Pittsburgh, all 3 of those guys are in the top 25 transfers out of, over 2,000 that we've seen enter the portal. I think those 3 guys, along with the guys they've retained, like Otega Owe, for example, they put together a really, really strong transfer class, really strong roster overall, and I'm very, very excited for what Kentucky could do this year. They had a great year last year, but obviously rebuilding an entire roster from scratch is one thing, but being able to build off of a great year last year, keep some key pieces, bring in a bunch of new, really athletic talent, I think the sky's the limit for this team.
Evan, I'm Nick Roush here. You first came on our radar, at least in my instance, whenever you had your sort of lineup ratings back during the Reed-Rob debates that were ravaging Big Blue Nation online culture. And so you talked about just the top-end talent of the transfer portal, but how do you use your data to figure out how well these pieces, these individual talents, fit together?
So, yeah, there's basically two parts to this. The first is just how good are the players individually, and that's where you have to start, right? Where ultimately a team is only as good as the individual talent that they have. And even if you have a team that's playing really well together, if the talent in and of itself isn't, Final Four national championship level, you're kind of capped in terms of what you can do. So it starts with there where I'm looking at every single player's box stats in terms of their shooting efficiency and other categories like rebounds and assists and turnovers. I'm also looking at their impact on team performance when they're on the court. Besides, whether they score 30 points per game or 5 points per game, are they having a positive impact on their team's performance on offense and defense? And then I'm also kind of predicting how good they're going to be going forward based on factors from their past, like how have they performed in previous seasons? Were they a high recruit coming out of high school? Does that indicate if they have a more potential to reach in college? So that all goes into the individual assessments, but then also once the season is going, I have all of these lineup metrics that are looking at how every single group of 5 players is playing, or even smaller combinations. So these 2 guys play together really well, but these 3 players are kind of poor defensively. You look at all of that stuff, and you can also get more of a picture of not just who are the best players on our team, but what combinations of players should be playing together. And all of that these are all tools that coaches are using on a regular basis to figure out minutes allocation, figure out best lineups and rotations, and things like that.
It is such an incredibly fun website. If you go to evanmiya.com, MIYA.com, there's free stuff that you can check out, but if you want to pay a small subscription fee, you get access to everything that Evan has. What got you into this, Evan? Just the numbers, the metrics of it all? Were you a KenPom kid and you thought, you know what, I can do something a little bit better? What got you into the metrics?
Well, first and foremost, my favorite sport my entire life has been college basketball. I actually grew up in Indianapolis, a big Butler Bulldogs fan. I grew up about 10 minutes from Hinkle Fieldhouse. My dad and I went to the Butler-Duke National Championship game where Gordon Hayward almost hit that half-court shot. So, college basketball always for me has been my first love, and I've always been a big math guy. So I ended up getting my PhD in statistics at Baylor University down in Texas. And so while I was still in school there, I decided to just sort of dabble with some college basketball analytics stuff, applying what I was learning in school. So I created this website initially kind of just as a side project, but it's sort of organically grown over the last several years and is now used by tons of coaches and journalists and fans for analyzing the sport. I was working a previous job doing consulting for NBA teams, and my site, Lord willing, it was just such a blessing from the Lord. It was able to reach a point where I said, hey, I can actually just focus full-time on the college website, and so I've been doing that full-time for a little bit over a year now.
Evan, I was at that 2010 Final Four. The Cats should have been there, upset by West Virginia in Syracuse in the Elite Eight. I had tickets. I was like, I've never been to a Final Four before. It's Indy. We're in Louisville. It's only a 2-hour drive. That's easy enough. I didn't stay for the national championship game, unfortunately, because had Hayward's shot gone in, would have been the greatest ending to a national championship game of all time. Around what parts of Indy did you grow up in?
North side, so Zionsville, Carmel area.
My college girlfriend was a Zionsville girl, Evan. So I'm very familiar with Zionsville, the Zionsville Public Golf Course. I have played, not well, unfortunately. Is that a little 9-hole course, or is it 18? I don't remember. But it was a cute little fun course up there. But cool. All right, good. Where'd you go to school?
So I actually went to a small Christian school in Indiana called Taylor University. It's the one that does the Silent Night tradition.
Wow, that's awesome.
You do the Silent Night?
Tell us about that.
Oh, man, that was... People do not realize how crazy the Silent Night tradition is. So for people who don't know or don't remember, it's the one where basically all the students are quiet and they basically scream like you've won a national championship and storm the floor once Taylor scores their 10th point. I think that people don't realize that we always picked a really horrible team for that game, and we would always beat them by 40 or 50. So it was never really a contest. But man, that was such a fun tradition, and getting to it's kind of grown in its own way where now every single floor, or you basically the equivalent of fraternities and sororities, you'll all dress up in costume kind of doing the same thing. So every single year was super fun doing that, and then pretty much being on SportsCenter every single year because they would always show a highlight of it was really fun.
Well, I've always loved that. I've never known anybody that's gone to it until now. Yeah, that is that's great.
I got a question about, Evan, your I feel like what you do now is becoming even more and more popular than ever before. This sort of advanced stats, ratings, and especially this time of the year when you're trying to figure out what your team's going to look like. What kind of feedback you get online from fan bases? Is Kentucky? What's Big Blue Nation? How do they treat you?
Well, I think one thing that's already almost always a factor with Big Blue Nation is because of how big and vast the fan base is, you're going to hear everything across the spectrum, good and bad. And so I think everyone in the media just sort of understands how that works. But, I mean, the feedback has been super positive. I mean, for starters, like, I'm very much in the public sphere. I post a lot of stuff on Twitter. I have a lot of college basketball just fans who follow me and are subscribed to my website. But, you know, a lot of what I'm building is kind of geared towards coaches. I have over 100 different Division I programs who are subscribed to my website and use it on a regular basis. And that number is only continuing to grow every single year. And Kentucky is one of those teams that uses it for all this different stuff there. And so it's, you know, obviously I think it's more important than ever in this time of college basketball and college athletics because the transfer portal has become so important, and scouting is not the way it used to be. You know, if you're scouting someone traditionally out of high school years ago, you'd have multiple years to watch them, develop a relationship, watch film, all these different things, where now you enter the transfer portal, and even before someone enters their name in the portal, other teams need to already know about them and about their statistical profile and know whether they want to pursue them. And then once someone enters the portal, you might have to make an offer within 3 or 4 days. And so it is just impossible for coaches and staffs to, you know, do the long process of identifying and IDing who they want and what fits their system. And so you have to make quick advances on filtering down who do we actually want. And so that's really where the statistical tools and advanced metrics that I do come into play and are more important than ever, because it allows you to quickly say, like, hey, is this player kind of roughly in the range of a type of player who would impact our team well? What are his, you know, traits and skill sets? Like, if we're looking for a specific profile player, does this player fit? And the data really helps you get those questions a lot quicker, narrow down your list, and then ultimately, you know, only have to spend the time really on the players that you're most interested in. And so I think that's part of why analytics has become more important than ever. And I think, too, you know, every single fan base now, they're gaining key players to their team, and they had no idea who that player was for. They didn't watch a single game. I would bet that most Kentucky fans didn't know who Cam Williams was from Tulane, nor watch a single Tulane game next year. And yet he's the first player Kentucky gets, and all of a sudden there's all these opinions about this guy because he's on Kentucky's roster. Where do those opinions come from? It comes from mostly looking at data and from looking at sites like mine to get a baseline level for how good is this guy. And so I think it's become more important forever for a lot of those reasons.
We're talking with Evan Miyakawa from evanmaya.com. You can be like Mark Pope and the Kentucky coaching staff and subscribe to all the advanced stats there. $30 a year. Pretty easy access.
He's got a more premium package too, which Evan, I just signed up for. Your most well, I guess that's your second most premium. You've got question marks on your most premium. Does that mean, you know, just reach out and we'll talk about pricing? Is that what that means?
Yeah, so the tier that you're talking about is a tool that I just came out with this offseason that's basically geared specifically for coaching staffs and general managers who are building rosters. And the main part of that is I actually have an NIL value attached to every single player in Division I in terms of how much they should be worth to any given team next year, kind of based on and adjusting to where the current market is at. And so it's very much a tool that's, I'm not giving this to the general public. It's very much more for advanced users, but there are a lot of high major programs who are using that to basically be smarter about how they're spending their money and figuring out just ballpark, you know, how much are these players worth that we're either keeping on a roster, re-recruiting, or looking into the portal or in high school ranks.
If it's good enough for college coaches and general managers, it is good enough for the average college basketball fan. I promise you that. And you don't have to spend the question mark to get it. $30 gets you in. He's got some other packages as well. But I'm all signed up, Evan. I can't wait to see it. You've got your transfer portal rankings, which a familiar name for Kentucky fans, Boogie Fland is number 1. Who do you see number 2?
Well, number 2 is Kentucky as a team.
As a team, he's got Kentucky number 2, but he's got Kentucky's highest rated commit being Jaden Quaintance at number 10.
My question was more about Jalen Lowe because...
Yeah, go ahead.
That...
Still my question, whatever.
Well, I'm going to steal it, TJ. Mark Pope has brought up an advanced analytic in at least two separate interviews on Lowe in regards to he took the 90th percentile of the most difficult shots you can take. He led the country in those. I'm almost positive Mark Pope got that stat from you. So how can you extrapolate what Lowe did for Pitt on a not so great team in a not-so-great lead and extrapolate that to what he could do and how he can fit in with more talented players at Kentucky?
Well, first of all, I won't take credit for that stat. I think that probably came from Synergy, I'm sure he got that somewhere else. But I think the question is very pertinent because there are a lot of questions, generally speaking, about how do you, take into account a player's level of competition that they're playing. Playing in the ACC and going to the SEC, that's one thing, but talking about Cam Williams coming from Tulane or someone else coming from, Kennesaw State or something to the SEC level. How do you, account for that jump? And that's really a lot of what my analytics do and really try and emphasize is trying to understand the adjustment between different levels of competition, between your conference, between the types of teams that you're playing. And a lot of that you really need to be smart about because a lot of times there are guys who are like volume scorers who score close to 20 points per game at the low major or mid-major level, who then will go to the high major level and really struggle, at least in terms of their efficiency, especially if they don't have another dimension to their game. This is something I really like about Jalen Lowe, is he's a very capable scorer. He's one of the best volume scorers in the country in terms of just being able to score from really anywhere in the court. He's really, really good at the free throw line, which is an attribute I think is going to be extremely valuable for Kentucky. But it's not just the scoring. He's even more of a better playmaker than he is a scorer. And when you are, looking at this roster of Kentucky players, there are so many different capable scorers and athletes on this team. I think Lowe is going to be a really, really big facilitator for this team. On my website, he has an A letter grade in terms of his playmaking, and a lot of that's because he creates a lot of assists for others, and relatively speaking, for someone who has the ball in his hands that much, he doesn't turn the ball over that much, which is a really good sign. And I think, too, that, one of the biggest question marks with him is he was a really poor three-point shooter last year. He only shot, I think, 27% from three. But one of the things I do in my site is I actually predict how good every single player is going to be in all these different skill areas going forward after adjusting for all these factors. And I predict that he's going to be more in the 33 to 34% range from three next year. So I think if you're talking about an 8% jump in three-point shooting, along with all of these other qualities that he has, he's going to be more than serviceable at the point guard position. I think he's going to be a big reason why Kentucky is successful this year.
I love that. That was going to be a question. I've got a lot of Kentucky fans have some concerns about shooting, and I love that you put grades next to pretty much anything that you can grade. And I'm not seeing a ton of high grades for outside shooting for some of the Kentucky players. Could that be an issue? Obviously, Cam Williams can spread the floor. He can knock down 25-foot threes. But could you see that being an issue for Mark Pope? Shooting usually not a concern for Mark Pope offenses.
Yeah, I do think that might be a bit more of an issue than last year. You're losing Kobe Brea, who, according to my website, was the best three-point shooter in the entire country in terms of his skill grade there. Ainsley Almanor was also very good from three last year. You're losing Jackson Robinson, who was definitely an above-average three-point shooter. Lamont Butler had his best three-point shooting season last year. So you're losing a lot of that, and then you're looking at this roster, and it's probably just really Cam Williams and Otega Owe, who are, for sure above-average three-point shooters. Mm-hmm. But literally I just talked about how, Almanor and Jackson Robinson and Butler were all really good from three last year, and for some of them it was by far their season shooting from three. So you can point to the coaching staff being able to, emphasize and bring those qualities out in those guys in the way that they run their offense. I don't see any reason why that can't continue. I do think that I wouldn't necessarily say that three-point shooting is going to be one of the strengths of this team next year, but I'm not super concerned that it's going to be a major weakness. It's probably going to be middle of the road compared to some other teams in the SEC. But the thing that really sticks out to me about this team is the athleticism and, honestly, the defensive qualities of this team. You mentioned Jaden Quaintance. He's the highest-rated transfer that I have on my website, top 10. He's the number one defensive-rated player in the portal. So when you look at what he did defensively last year, he is an incredible physical specimen. He showed a lot of really good qualities as a freshman. He, obviously got injured. He's working his way back. But when you take into account how good he was as a freshman, his incredible, recruiting profile coming out of high school, which points to his really high potential, and that's baked into his overall transfer rating on my site. I think he could be one of the most disruptive defenders in the entire country next year, potentially, an all-American when it comes to defense next year. And so I'm really, really excited for what he's going to do on the defensive end. I think Mo Diabate next to him as well is really good defensively too. So I'm really excited about that aspect of this Kentucky team.
Evan Maikawa has Jaden Quaintance's defensive impact A+ and blocks an A. Doesn't get too much better than that. Overall, he has him as an A+ on the defensive end, B+ on the offensive end. Can your metrics take into any sort of account injuries or health coming back? Because that's the big question mark with Jaden Quaintance and UK fans is, all right, well, you saw last year, if you had that, yeah, it is going to be a great defensive player. But coming off a major knee injury and surgery, what if he's not that is a big concern for Kentucky fans. Obviously, there's no way, I think, for the numbers to be able to indicate any of that, Evan.
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of this is kind of assuming that, once he's healthy, this is his level of production. My metrics do take into account players who were injured last year and sort of accounting for the uncertainty of what their level of production will be once they're back healthy next year. And even with all that being said, he still has this high of a rating. So, again, if there's complications and he's ever back fully healthy, then we're talking about a very different level of player. But, assuming that he reaches full health at some point in the season, once he's there, I really predict he's going to be one of the biggest forces defensively in the SEC for sure, and even overall, too, his overall offensive game could grow a lot, too.
This is awesome stuff, Evan. I told you only 10 or 15 minutes, and we're well over 20 now. So we'll have to get you back on the show in the future and talk about college basketball. We didn't get to any of the Cards or the Hoosiers today, but we can save that for another time. Evan Maikawa, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, glad to be here, and I would love to come back anytime.
Absolutely.
Man,
we'll have you back
awesome.
on. Yeah,
Appreciate
this was a lot
it,
of fun. Have a good day. Evan Maikawa, go to his website, evanmaya.com, and subscribe. You don't have to subscribe to be able to play around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can kind of get on that stuff, but it's best if you subscribe, because then you can check out everything, which I'm excited about for this year. He also does betting aspects of things as well. He's never been below 50% on any of his betting for the year, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, if I were at 50%, man, I could get a new house.
But that was fun. Hopefully we can start making him maybe more of a regular guest talking college basketball with him.
And it does, I appreciate that he's able to make sense of some of the numbers, because it can be overwhelming. But what I think is cool about this new guys like Evan, who can make sense of basketball is more of a sweet science, if you will. The ability for just to get past a guy. Like, how can you quantitatively measure a player's ability to get open for an open shot, right? Like, they're able to do that now, and so to be able to, that's the part where guys like Lowe fascinate me. And I wish we kind of got sidetracked there. Aberdeen's the one other player who I'm intrigued by because of his limited usage last year. Like, how, using your data, how can you turn that data into projecting what he could be? And I would love to know how they crunch numbers for stuff like that. And it's probably too complicated for my tiny brain to understand, but that's why we get the big brains on to explain it to us, and it got me fired up for the next Kentucky basketball season.
Me too. I'm right there with you. Get your text into the show, 502-414-1415, if you want to follow Evan on the old Twitter or X, at Evan Maya, M-I-Y-A.
That was an awesome interview, fellas. Oh.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to congratulate Evan for being awesome.
We did.
The Silent Night, though, thing, the fact that I bet that was starting right around his time, too. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Get in on the ground floor of that thing?
Yeah. That he's a big college basketball junkie. I don't think you could have a website like he has and not be.
Right.
What's the longest home run you've ever seen live or memorable ones? I'm asking because on MLB The Show, I hit a 502-foot homer with some random catcher I drafted. Hey, you all want to give me some surefire MLB bets today so I can afford a drink at Bonnaroo? Already bet the Reds and the Rockies to lose tonight.
I don't actually.
My home run is shocking that I remember this and that you asked this question. I was at the Big Mac game that they hit the I and the Big Mac sign at the Cardinals. Albert Pujols hit the I and the Big Mac. That was cool. It wasn't the longest home run, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. That's a fun question. What is the longest home run I've been in attendance for? That was easily the most memorable.
Yeah, mine was similar where you're there. It was I was in middle school. And it was a boys' weekend. My dad got us a spot in Chicago that had a rooftop pool. We thought that was awesome. The Cubs weren't in town, so we went to a White Sox game. Well, it turned out that was the year they won the World Series. He got us tickets in the outfield on Elvis night. And so A.J. Pierzynski hit a home run into our section, and it was probably like 10 rows in front of me. And I want to say that they were like at the concession stand when it happened. So it was just me who I thought I could be close enough to catch it. I wasn't. But when we went back to watch SportsCenter later, back when SportsCenter just showed highlights all the time, and like I could see me on SportsCenter celebrating the home run.
That's always good, clean fun.
And then after the game on Elvis night, Elvis parachuted into the outfield, like into the stadium, and then did it like the impersonator did a concert. It was pretty wild. Like. It was just the White Sox. It wasn't as cool as going to Wrigley, but they were a good team. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
A texter said, for MLB bets, you don't want to listen to us.
Did you see the crowd
to little old me
at the Rockies Marlins game? I mean, they were doing their pregame like rave, and I bet there were 25, 50 people there.
No, I didn't see it.
Truly looked like worse than a AAA game.
It's pretty funny though, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Another texter says, how good is old rap compared to the new mumble rap?
Chip the Rip.
Who's Chip the Rip?
He sings the Feel Good song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That looks stupendous.
I mean, I like old rap better, obviously, but there's people that the rap that I like would probably say, that's trash compared to the older rap.
Your brother also says you saw the Bonds homer the night after he broke the record. I would say that was pretty memorable too.
Well, so we were in San Francisco the night he broke the record. Yeah, that's a good point, Johnny. I should have remembered that one. We weren't at the game.
Was it the single season or the Hank Aaron record?
It was the Hank Aaron record.
Oh wow,
pretty sure.
And then you went the night after.
And then we went the night after, and he hit another home run, which was pretty cool.
That was incredible. Steroids era rocked. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
It really did. All right, we're out of time. Thanks again to Evan. Thanks for the texters. Everybody have a great Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow with a Weird Wednesday, piquing your interest with Stephen Peak, Murray State Racers. He's going to be pumped about that. Everybody have a great Tuesday.
The Big X Sports Radio, 1450 and 96.1 FM, WXVW Jeffersonville, W230CK Jeffersonville.
Hey there, business owners and church leaders. Want to reach more people in your community? Advertise your business or promote your ministry program on our stations? With our wide reach of radio stations, you'll connect with thousands of listeners every single day. Don't miss out on this opportunity. I'm Barbara Carter. Let's make your message heard. Give me a call at 502-345-9017. That's 502-345-9017.
T.A. Jenkins and T.A. Jenkins Company, LLC, proud sponsor of high school basketball on the Big X. Call Terry Jenkins at 812-989-7381 for your residential and commercial construction needs. Design, build, or remodel, it's T.A. Jenkins Company, LLC, located in New Albany. Email Terry at tajenkins@tajenkinsco.com. That's G-I-N-K-I-N-S. T.A. Jenkins Company.
Get your Saturday morning wake-up call on Big X Sports Radio. Wake Up 502 with Rashawn Myers every Saturday morning from 9 until 11 a.m. only on WXVW 96.1 and 1450 a.m. The Big X. Joined by the architect himself, Haven Harrington. They bring you all the sports commentary and opinions on both local and national sports you need to get your weekend started. Wake Up 502. It's more than just talk.
Get ready to enjoy a night of laughter, heart, and family fun under the stars when you join Clarksville Parks and Recreation for a free movie in the park night featuring Inside Out 2, the brand new sequel to the Pixar favorite. You won't want to miss this event at Gateway Park at 500 Little League Boulevard in Clarksville on Friday, June 6th. The movie starts at 7:30. You're encouraged to bring a blanket, some snacks, and just enjoy the film with your family. It's Inside Out 2, and you won't want to miss it. Clarksville Parks, where community comes to play.
Roosters, a fun, casual joint. Join us at Roosters every Monday, all day for the boneless wing special, only 79 cents each. Roosters has salads, wings, sandwiches, pizzas, and all of your favorite adult beverages. Roosters has a great family atmosphere, fun for the whole family. Roosters has TVs everywhere, so you can watch your favorite team. Roosters on Dixie Highway, Preston Highway, Fern Creek, Shelbyville Road, and Springhurst.
Father's Day is right around the corner. The 2025 Big X Sports Radio Golf Card will be the best Father's Day gift ever. With a Big X Sports Radio Golf Card, Dad can play Park Mammoth, Old Capitol, Elk Run, Valley View, Wooded View, and Christmas Lake in Santa Claus, Indiana for less than $25 a round. We have less than 5 cards left. So get Dad his card today at BigXSportsRadio.com or call 812-725-1457. Here's what you missed on Kentucky Roll Call.
Hall of Fame head coach John Calipari joining Kentucky Roll Call.
I think we have a lot of NBA talent on this team, but they got to perform. And then you got to win. And you got to win at a high level so that everyone gets that last look.
Kentucky Roll Call, weekdays 7 to 9 on the Big X Sports Radio.
Hey, I love Salsaritas. Why? Flame grilled meats, house-made chips, fresh-made salsas. For fast takeout, office catering, or your summer celebration, try Salsaritas. Visit them at St. Matthews or in Middletown, or order online for special offers.
We know to contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before every dig. Contact Indiana 811 and White Line before every project.